Hey Chad,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Still working on getting some numbers and booking a time in your calendar so we can have the Cloudonix set up on my account.
Sure. Did you open an account by now? I don't recall.
I have not. I'm still waiting on some phone numbers from my carrier that we can get level A attestation or whatever.
Lovely attestation is something that we're going to help you with. You don't need it from your carrier.
No, I'm telling the business I'm helping. I need one of their phone numbers,
Oh,
don't
right.
I, to
Oh,
connect
oh, you
or
can you can get a new number.
do you
Uh,
guys have new numbers for that I could get on the on
so remind me, what is your use case?
um well, I have two different ones now, but the first one is outbound calling
Right.
um for people who have showed interest in a job, and this is like calling
Right.
and seeing if they meet some requirements.
Right.
Uh
Right. Right. I remember that.
so it uses
Go on.
um I'm using Twilio right now as well, but you said you would help me switch over.
So if you're using Twilio, that means you have Twilio numbers, right?
Yes.
And that is for your inbound calls.
The calls I send out to people.
Okay, you can use your existing Twilio numbers if you want. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So basically, what you need to do is, if you have existing Twilio numbers, and what AI are you using?
Vappy.
Vapi. Okay. So technically speaking, what you'll need to do, you can set up an account on Cloudonix. And then you need to fill in the KYC and the relevant information. And once you do that, you'll be able to use our service providers to send out your outbound calls in an automated fashion, and that shouldn't be a problem for you using those existing Twilio numbers. That's
And
not a problem.
I can still get level A at a station.
Basically, the idea is the minute you sign the KYC and you provide us with the written proof that you own the numbers, then yes, basically our carrier, we submit the information, then they will do the attestation properly.
Okay.
That's how it's supposed to work.
And I can show proof of owning a number even if it's a
As
Twilio number.
as long as you can show proof that the number is owned by you, like an invoice or anything, that can be verified as, the business entity, and that you have some bills and so on that actually identify that number as owned by you, then the answer is yes.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Matt, been a while.
Hey, Near.
Hey, Matt, your camera is off or covered or something.
There it
There we
goes.
go. There we
Perfect.
go. It's been a while, man.
Oh yeah, how's
Yeah.
everything?
Good. Can't complain. Can't complain.
You
Oh,
know?
turn on my camera as well. By the way,
Okay.
guys, whoever walked in and joined us, please turn on your camera and turn on your microphones. This is an open discussion. We're still waiting for some people to join in. But the idea is that once everybody joins in, or at least we start getting a nice batch of people, we'll open the discussion for everybody, because this is not a webinar. The idea is to have an open discussion about anything, right? So who got fucked by Amazon yesterday? Who got
We didn't
screwed?
turn on the recording for that one.
What? Of course it's recorded.
No, that's a meet record. That's read recording, not video recording.
No, no, no. I've got video recording as well.
Okay, we'll edit that out.
Okay, so I'll rephrase. Who got screwed, nailed, or any other bad term by AWS going down yesterday? Like nobody? Nah, impossible. Come on. Matt, you don't have any juicy tales on that one?
No, I kind of missed it. I went to log in to something and I realized there was a problem with one of my softwares but nah, I didn't get hit with it.
Yeah. By the way, we got a newcomer, Vinod Kumar, right? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
So you're new. It's first time. Your first time here.
yes, I am. I just started checking out retail and like, you know what, I'm gonna join you guys and see how things go.
So where are you joining from? Where are you located?
In US, in Seattle.
Ah, in the U.S. Awesome.
Welcome to
So,
the craziness.
yep, this is the craziness
Thank
of
you, thank you.
AI, the craziness of AI, telephony, anything in between, and whatever drives people mad on the phone. By the way, Matt, I wanted to ask, what kind of camera do you use?
This is on board on the Mac. This is a new
Got it.
Mac. So I guess it's 4K, but I have a
No. Basically, it does like follow you, so I was interested to know. And kind of like
yeah.
it zooms on.
I turned that on. I think it's the software, the Zoom software. I clicked the setting and it
Mhm.
asked if it wanted me to if it
Okay.
wanted.
So,
The first
okay,
time I'd
cool.
seen that in the feed.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Uh, so so as some of you may know, yesterday AWS had, I think, one of the biggest outages they've had in like ages. And we've seen that outage, so that outage was the interesting part, it wasn't really in US times. So it was mostly affecting Europe and so on, but it was affecting the entire US East 1 zone inside AWS, where a great deal of companies and businesses actually do their hosting. So systems like Slack and so on were suffering, for almost 6.5 hours. And and that led me to a very interesting I don't want to say discussion, but it had me think about resilience inside, AI voice, because we take, services from Vapi and retail and various other platforms, and we don't always know where they're hosted. Like we never know exactly where they're located, and when they do go down, if Amazon goes down or some other thing, um, we can't really do anything about it. It's a little annoying, and it's a very interesting thing, as to what's going on there. Like, why do these things happen? Why do these things occur? Um, and what is that? No, yeah. And it's the interesting part is that, is there really a way for us, as solution providers, as agencies, and so on, to actually be resilient to this kind of outage? And it's always, that trade-off, between, I've seen today, I'm starting to see, customers that used to work with Vapi are now moving, or not really moving, but replicating their setup into retail. I'm seeing the other way as well. I'm also seeing customers that are now building their own, like saying, okay, I've got Vapi as my primary or retail as my primary, and I'm building something that I will host on my own to make sure that if something happens on those, I have my capability to keep on working and, keep my business running. And I wonder if any of you guys, encountered something like this from either your customers or your own experience.
Was retail impacted by the AWS outage?
So I don't know specifically if and how and where, but I have heard and I have seen some people discuss on the fact that some portions of their website, of their portal was unavailable at some point. People weren't able to log in at some point, and so on. So I don't really know to what extent it was affecting either Vapi or retail or any of the other providers. It wasn't really clear, but the question is, and this is the one that is interesting to me, like how important is the, let's say, the resilience of your AI agents to the business? Like, is that something that businesses today considered a critical infrastructure based on your experience? Guys, this is an open discussion. It's not me just talking. That's the idea.
I'll say something. I don't treat. My name is Oren, by the way. I don't treat AI as something separate than anything else we provide customers. I guess it's all the same level. And sorry about this. We do try to keep redundancy, even though we're a small company, but this is always in my mind. And everything that we do, I try to have a solution in case of a catastrophe. Amazon had bigger troubles years before, and some other vendors also. So I think we do need to be ready for that. And it's a problem that we count on those very few vendors alone. Yeah. How was your service affected? Do you use AWS?
So we were not affected at all. Our infrastructure is located on different zones, so we do not use US East 1. Namely because although US East 1 is the primary zone that gets all the AWS updates first, it's like their it's like this is like their soup du jour. Whatever comes out goes always to US East 1. But for us, stability is far more important. So we normally don't use US East 1 at all. We use other zones. But
I also tried not to use a US East 1. I don't know why. Maybe because it was the first one they had, I think.
We don't use it simply because it's it's being updated too many times, and things tend to break there. If you want to use like the latest and greatest features, then definitely US East 1. Although from an industry perspective, US East 1 is considered the best zone in the US in terms of all the latest features, all the latest hardware, or the latest tweaks that they can do on a cloud perspective. The question is, do we really need that? Like, and when I say we, I don't necessarily say we as the agencies, but more as the AIs that we maintain. Do they really need all the latest and greatest? That's number one. Number two, is an AI voice agent a critical element in your business? So
that depends on the use case, right? Depending on where you.
I don't know.
Yeah. So if it's your L1 support, then or
so here's the interesting part. Okay, so the outage yesterday in US East 1, it affected a whole lot of things. So here's what I know. So call tracking metrics It's a large provider, for call tracking, went down. Significant parts of Twilio went down. So it means that if Twilio went down, then retail, Vappy, and everybody else were affected as well. There's no question about it. Then you got the cascade of what happens afterwards. All the other things that stopped working. I know that people had various N8N installations that stopped working. I know that Make had some issues. I know that Zapier had some issues. I know Zoom had some issues. Slack in some regions was completely out of it. On our side, I can tell you that there was this really funky thing where, so I know that HubSpot, for example, was affected, was significantly affected. It was really funny that there were like a lot of people yesterday filling various forms on HubSpot. But I think that HubSpot uses AWS SES and SQS and SNS in order to send out emails. Because we got a bombardment of inbound emails from HubSpot at sometime in the afternoon, and they all came together. Normally, there's one here, one there, and just they came all at once. So we had, putting aside, services like Slack and so on, which are mission critical to a lot of companies. Okay, my main question is, an AI agent is effectively a software component where people, they put a lot of weight on it from a business perspective. And is that a mission critical element for your business? And is there a difference between the businesses that work with these agents if they cannot control them or they lose them? Yeah, I can imagine, let's say, I don't know, Domino's Pizza, for example. Let's say they use an AI agent for their, all their orders, and suddenly that AI agent goes down. Is that considered mission critical or not? Can they reroute it to a human agent or not? Do they have the manpower to be able to handle that influx or not? So that brings up a lot of interesting questions. And whose responsibility, I'm trying to think about, the AI voice agent, let's say, value chain. Who is responsible for making sure that my business keeps on ticking? Is it the agency or is it the AI provider? What do you think?
That's a good point. It goes back into the carrier conversation in regards to connectivity and phones that we've had multiple times. But if you imagine you sell into an account and that account is Domino's or a small franchise in Domino's,
Right.
and you're an agency and you've delivered the voice AI solution to them.
Right.
For that franchise mom and pop Domino's, you're going to be the first one that they call when the voice AI bot, right, which means that you also have to spend time and energy to troubleshoot and figure out what is happening,
right,
to then realize it's not your error, but it still is cost.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, I think I don't think we'll have, a definite answer here. And I do believe that we're going to end up with, I think the agencies eventually will need to build some kind of resilience into their tools, because at the end of the day, they are the front line. They're like the first to encounter.
We've had a conversation, I think maybe 2 AMAs ago, we were talking about monitoring, and one of the things that I see missing is a observability layer, and I'm wondering if it's how you would establish one similar to hosting, where you have something like a better uptime that is pinging the server, making sure that the server is up and running. And if
I
there's
don't
a
think
way,
that's enough.
yeah,
I don't think that's enough. So here's an interesting tale from today. Happened like a couple of hours ago. So one of our newer customers pings me and tells me that so these guys do very smart warrant transfers via Cloudonix, and they use retail and so on. And he calls me up and says, "Hey, everything is not working. I don't think something's working." And I'm looking at it saying, "Well, let me get to my keyboard and see what's going on." So I get to my keyboard and I take a look and I go, "Well, everything seems to be working fine. What I am seeing is that I think that maybe retail is not functioning properly." And so I have my own set of voice agents. So I test these and they work just fine. So I told the guy, "Hey, listen, I'm testing my voice agent. They work just fine. I suggest that you check whatever you got in there." And the guy has his own N8N server, and apparently that one failed. It was malperforming, and basically I had to reset it, and everything started working again. And that brings up a very interesting question that which most agencies I think don't even think about, is that they use a lot of tools in order to build something, but they don't really build any observability of their own into these tools. So, for example, I'm using, let's say, um, use retail, N8N, maybe I'm going to use Airtable, maybe I'm going to use, I don't know, some kind of other tool. I have no real visibility, at the agencies of what's really going on. It's not like I have a dashboard that shows me all of these services. Like I need to follow all of them at the same time. So the question of observability is no longer only at the hands, of the AI. The AI is just one component in the observability of the entire AI, stack. So that is something that, I think that as we progress, agencies will need to become more than just, AI agencies. And they'll need to build their own, let's say, modus operandi of how they observe what they ever build for their customers. I think that for large scale customers, this is going to be mandatory.
100%. And it exists outside of voice AI. Management consulting, any type of consulting has these tools, Terraforms and others. But because voice AI, BAPI, retail are more no-code platforms, you get the introduction of people that aren't coders per se, so they don't have a
Odors.
no, I'm not, they don't. But what I'm saying is the people that are more familiar with the full stack and all the tools that are available understand what needs to be there. I need to be in how to test those elements for a no coder or somebody building. They hadn't been exposed to those tools and don't need to be for intensive purposes, because
Yeah.
they're able to build a voice bot that says what it needs to say. And so now we're going into a world that, since voice AI is maturing at the rate it is, we're going into a world where what you're bringing up is the demand for those types of tools need to start being introduced into the conversation, especially on the enterprise side of things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
or maybe not even in something mission critical. And if your business is voice AI, psychotherapist, something, whatever it is, the use
Yeah.
case, then US East goes down, you are,
You're sharing the shit.
yeah, yeah.
So Chad, you're building a voice AI for recruitment. This is your use case.
Yes, sir.
So how do you see this? Like for you, I think, eventually, the ability to dial out the AI is actually your business backbone. It's like
Yeah.
that's what's driving it.
So you raise a really good point, and I think now thinking about it, I might just have some sort of contract with the with my customers saying if something ever does go down, it can take up to, I don't know, a week or 5 days to fix, and my business is not responsible for anything, loss of potential clients or something.
Well, I don't think that is the answer because no business will be willing to accept that kind of you know
SLA.
SLA. A 5-day SLA is I've never seen anything like that. Hey, Tony.
Well, what about, I'm just spitballing, what if it's 2 days then, or one day?
Yeah, not even they. Most businesses will, the SLA they expect will be 8 hours at most. Tony, I'll just bring you up to speed. So we're talking about AI voice agent or AI agent observability, not only in the scope of the agent itself, like saying I want to monitor retail or VAPI, is actually the observability of the full stack solution that an agency will build for a business. For example, let's say it has retail, NHN, HubSpot, Go High Level, blah, 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 blah. Like, how do you create observability for that entire workflow and provide it to a customer saying, here it is, like here's what you can look at and make sure that it works. Now, chat, I think that an SLA, if you look at any SLA, Twilio, retail, VAPI, etc., it doesn't really matter. Their SLA normally goes and says, okay, we have a 4 hour and 8 hour or something like that. Also, an SLA is is not really, something that commits to having saying 1, 2, 3. It is your commitment as a business to say, if there is an issue, I will attend to it as long as it is within the realm of my capabilities to attend to it. So your SLA commitment as an agency is not necessarily to fix the problem. It's more to be able to look at the problem and figure out if it's something that is in your realm to fix or it's somebody else's, AWS screwed up and you can't do anything about it from one reason or another. At the same time, as an agency, you can build some kind of contingencies saying, okay, I do have a contingency for, I don't know, this going down that I can replace with something else. Or I can talk to my customer and say, okay, look, this had gone down. We can either wait for them to fix it or we can do some work and get it replaced with something else. Okay, but the question is that really the responsibility of the agency to do? And my natural feeling is to say yes.
I would say absolutely. I mean, by it. You're being paid to have a service up and running for the business, and that can be a critical source or cannot be a critical source. But in either case, if your service is down, then you should not be charging your customer for those days that it's down. So if I was on like a monthly plan, then I could charge only 28 out of the 30 days of the monthly plan and have that written in the contract or something. If my service is ever down, then
So you're referring to a situation where the agency is effectively the reseller of a specific set of services. Like they bill for everything.
Yeah, potentially.
In that
Uh,
case, you're correct. I agree with you because you're responsible. You're the front line.
I joined late. Sorry about that. I think my opinion on this is that, and this is why I build in client environments. And I like if it's retail, for example, it's their retail account. They know the
I
different
knew Tony will
systems.
have a good insight on this one. I know what you do. So I said to myself, this is going to be like one you're going to love.
Yeah, and so just because it also limits risk for us as agency owners, we don't have the ones access to the switch on the wall to things turn things on or off. So if you work in client environments, you are very open about the environments that you're using. I think that's a lot more transparent, and also the burden doesn't lie on you as an agency to have that uptime all the time. So even when like N8N instances, it's my client's N8N instance. I can help them set it up, but it is very clear it's their instance. Their retail, they do the billing, everything. It's I'm just a consultant tying things together for them.
But the question that rises from that is it your responsibility as an agency to provide your customer with some kind of observability solution
Sure.
for them to be able to see that something went, something went
I don't
wrong?
think it's a responsibility unless that's to be agreed upon within your terms of your service agreement. But you can use third party tools. Like most of these systems have notification systems or status update pages. So at the very least, you can say, here's all the systems that we use, and here's the status update sites, and you'll be updated when there's a down kit. Because even if retail goes down because of live kit, that's something outside of retail's
Right.
responsibility. They need live kit to be fixed, right? So I think it's more just about openness and communication on what tools are out there, and that way that blame won't come upon yourself as an agency owner.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you brought up something interesting. So have you been, so I know Tony, you're very much a retail, agency, or most of your business is on it. Uh Over the past couple months, I'd say, uh retail has been going through some significant changes. Ranging from a little bit on their business focus in some areas that I've noticed, and also some interesting personnel that's been coming into retail.
Mm.
And I know that you're far more, in the loop in there, and that community far better. What do you think about what's going on there?
I mean, I don't know all of it going on. I think yeah, retail's on a huge push right now to advance their services and visibility as well. So I know that they're doing some engagements with big companies, and kind of doing it at a discounted rate and then using their partners to execute those things. I think I've been like, I just recently, well, I don't know how recent it is, but they've got that Link or Lark tool where they actually announce their updates and things like that. So I feel like I've been seeing a lot more updates recently,
Right.
which I'm pretty happy about. I don't think I have really anything negative to say other than the fact that from perception wise, again, I'm a gold partner, so I'm not an embedded partner, but they are, using their partners to implement, and some of those partners are hiring consultants, and I've done some work for embedded partners that are working with retail and stuff like that. So I think they're doing a lot of push on that marketing aspect of things and giving deals out, which then flows down to their partners because it's not a full implementation. And if those partners are using agencies, and those implementers are getting paid less and things like that. So I'm not sure if that kind of answers what you're asking, but that's just my observation that I've seen recently.
No, I'm just seeing a lot of changes, in the number of updates they do. Like it's
Yes,
coming
for
out
sure.
like really fast. I'm comparing it, Vapi also sends out a shitload of updates almost on a weekly basis. But it seems like where Vapi is very much concentrated on moving forward very, very fast and potentially along the way breaking some shit, and we won't care, we'll fix it. Retail is more focused on enterprise, stability and being able to be more, accurate and more
I prefer that though, because we have paying customers and customers
Yeah.
that are on there. So if they change things and break it, that's challenging.
Yeah. One of the things that I think that a few years ago, back in 2019, I wrote a Medium article, which I called the tipping point. And the tipping point is that point. So one of the things that's very common with building a startup is that you don't develop everything you're on your own at the beginning. You take services from a lot of people. You actually, you integrate a lot of stuff in order to get to the market. And what I think is currently happening with retail is that it is rapidly reaching that tipping point where it needs to mature, beyond LiveKit, beyond what they're currently doing, and start building out their own infrastructure.
Mhm.
And I think based on their recent hires, and you can see that on LinkedIn, I think that's exactly where they're going.
Well, they're also talking about implementing their own end-to-end type of solution within
Yes.
retail, right? So they're doing their own automations as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things. So I think that we're going to see some very interesting stuff coming out of there in the next, I'd say, 9 to 12 months.
And that can be a catch-22 too, right? Because if you try to be good at everything
Then you're
versus
eventually good at
excellent at
nothing.
one, exactly, right? So like right now they're very strong with their voice agents. And if that gets diluted too much because they're working on automations, hopefully it's at a stable point before they invest too much time and effort into that. But I'm cautiously watching that because I hope they don't deteriorate on their voice services because that's where they came from.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things, with Cloudonix, so Cloudonix is connected to multiple AI platforms. Over the past 2 weeks, we actually connected a few new ones, which were interesting. One is called DeepVox. It's located in India. So their focus is primarily Indian languages and dialects. So they have like their own text-to-speech models that are dedicated to India, which is very interesting. Also, if you remember from 2 weeks ago, Relay Hawk is also now connected, which do all those observability for your AI and testing. And this morning we connected another one, which is called Voice Hub, which is another, I think it's a European one, but they're very much focused in what's called in the UAE and the Arab-speaking countries, according to what I saw. So what I'm starting to see is like these AI engines are becoming more, verticalized or geography verticalized, but being able to service a specific geography or a specific, let's say, set of languages where they specialize.
I think that's out of necessity though, right? Because there's not enough experts in those areas that these other like 11 labs stuff can focus on different dialects. Eventually, like honestly, I tell people this all the time. The product we have today and the service we have today, it's the worst it's ever going to be.
The worst it's going to be?
It's currently the worst it's going to be because it's always evolving and getting
yeah.
better. We're getting huge updates on models and things all the time,
Great
right?
way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Are
different
you
questions.
starting to see one more platform more popular than the other? Are you starting to see any trends and see, one of the questions we talked about some time ago is who's going to win the race? And then the other part is, aside from who's going to win the race, is there a clear platform if you have a specific use case you could say to a customer, you need to go
Use
here.
this or use that.
Right.
Ouch.
I don't think there's going to be a winner of the race.
Yeah.
And like honestly, it's if you think about that, even like how many CRM businesses are out there, how many ERP platforms are out there, right? And so as long as these companies don't stagnate in their development and their releases, there's not going to be a race that's going to be won. And in terms of like, for me, I like using retail. I'm a retail partner. I focused on them. I used to use a company called Thoughtly. They're absolute trash.
What?
Thoughtly, yeah, they're real bad. Their webhooks don't even work.
Now you said a word, a company I never heard of, and apparently I visited their website for
I
some
was a
reason.
partner before, and they're just trash, so I stopped using them. I bought an AppSumo with them, so I had free stuff, so I used to do all my demos on there. But then I started getting
Sounds
sick of
familiar.
being like, oh yeah, the demo is it's yours is gonna be better than the demo, because I was just trying to save a couple bucks by building it on that because I had an AppSumo.
Yeah.
But I was just getting too tired of no, yours will work. Don't worry, that's just the demo. So then I moved over to everything to retail, and everyone's just like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Okay.
Right. So, and to your point, Matt, like as long as you're working with a company that is dynamic enough, the one reason I like Thoughtly, and I know that Vappy's getting there as well, is that they both kind of started with that single prompt agent. I think that retail built out much more quickly the multi-prompt and conversational prompt agents. Vappy, I know, is new into that area, and I think they're doing some really good developments. I haven't used them in a while, but as long as any use case you think can, anything that you want to do for your customers, you believe you can accomplish, whether it's in simple agent or in conversational flow or whatever, then just use it. Because honestly, they're like, if retail's, like Near saying, retail's been doing a lot of great updates lately, and they're continuing to do so. So I'm a huge fan of retail.
By the way, I'm looking at Thoughtly. Like, I don't see any. They're like a. Oh,
Their agents are trash.
they look like a.
Sorry, that's just a demo. Yours will work better than that.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly had to. I had to like maneuver myself every single time.
That was guys. That was beautiful. No, just looking at it, looks like a more like a bland competitor.
Yeah, so they don't even
retail
have their
competitor.
normal webhooks functioning properly. Like it'll trigger them out of like sync. It doesn't know how to handle incoming data from a webhook.
Yeah.
It's very inconsistent.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say trash, but it was. I could not have
Hey,
a
man, you
production
can say it.
client
It's okay. It's
on
your
that
opinion.
platform.
It's your opinion to say it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Look,
And then to the point you made earlier, they Thoughtly used to make production level changes on platform, and it break old agents. So now you have customers that are like, "Hey, my agent doesn't work." You're like, "Why not? I didn't touch it."
I didn't touch it. Yeah.
Didn't make it right. So.
Oh my God. So,
But speaking of
Cloudonix.
bland, I don't. So I'm paying attention to the influencers and the conversations that they have on LinkedIn, and only here mostly Retail, Vappy, LiveKit, Podcat, and Bland at one time was often mentioned and talked about, but not as much. And I know what you said, Tony. It's about usability and familiarity with the platform, but also the sentiment is not what I'm noticing. The sentiment is not the same with Bland and Current, with what the influencers are talking about and showing that they're building on and those things. So
yeah, a lot of these influencers are really good at talking and stuff. I've built stuff for YouTubers and stuff like that. And
Amazing, guys. Amazing. Bland finally opened their SIP interconnect.
okay.
They finally have a BYO environment. But I'm reading through it.
Yeah.
Okay. Holy shit. Holy crap.
Good.
Okay. So I understand how it works. Basically, Bland is based on Twilio because the IP numbers that they're specifying, I can see that they're all Twilios. I know these IP numbers by heart. Open, blah, blah, blah. Wow. So technically, for a normal company to interconnect, do a BYO with Bland is going to be almost impossible. They like mandatory requirements are nuts. Like most companies won't be able to connect to that. Thankfully, they can do it for Cloudonix. Now I need to put that into the system and to create a new service provider. Yay! That'll take about 5 minutes. You know that we recently added a small tool inside Cloudonix that will enable me to literally bring me an AI voice provider that supports SIP, and in 5 minutes later, it's connected and available across the entire platform.
Yeah, it
Um,
takes longer to write the documentation
yeah,
because their name takes longer to type than it does to implement.
exactly. Um,
Really
but
wondering what motivated that. It's
what
interesting.
motivated that? I'll tell you what motivated
For
that.
them,
So,
yeah. Yeah,
oh, you mean Bland?
yeah. Well, because
I,
that
I I know
conversation
what
was, yeah.
so I know what motivated it. I know very
Yeah.
well what motivated it. Uh, but they created an interconnect that is really hard for a so effectively their SIP interconnect is only TLS based. And most of the enterprises don't use TLS signaling for SIP or SRTP at all. They'll just use and also carriers, which means that it's very weird. Number two is that what I'm seeing is that they're very much based on if required, we provide IP reach, which okay, these accept. So these are your signaling. SIP signaling service. So it's so dynamic that most enterprises won't be able to handle anything like this. It's just too dynamic. And I know why they do it like that, because anything else is going to be they won't be able to, because they're based on Twilio. They're like on the entire Twilio infrastructure. That's how they work. And I get it. Makes perfect sense. But it's good to know that they're advancing as well. And regarding what you said, that the fact that you heard about Blind, at the beginning quite a lot, and then it kind of like it faded out. They were like the first ones around. It was one of the original, one of the first AI voice platforms out there.
Yeah.
But unlike VAPI and Retail, which are a full stack, opinionated or less opinionated, orchestrator, Blind is not an orchestrator. It's designed for one thing. It's a very shrink wrapped product. But yeah. So I got a different question. Anybody has an interesting workflow that they've been tackling? I have one that, somebody brought to me, which is pretty cool. But it's something that we're still, more or less, specking it out in terms of a wireframe and how to do it. It's an interesting one, and I'll show it once it's more complete. But I'm wondering if any of you got any interesting story from the past, let's say, 2 weeks.
Not 2 weeks, but I made that video a little while ago about the one-time passwords using retail and N8N.
Okay, now I'm interested. What do you mean one-time password? Like an outbound multi-factor authentication tool?
Yeah, authentication. So basically someone calls and let's say there's sensitive information that we don't want to share because it's, anybody can say my phone number is this,
Right.
or I have the
Right.
account number kind of thing. So you have N8N with basically once retail sees it, it sends the request to N8N, and it then uses SMS or email, sending a one-time code. And then you either punch it in or tell the retail agent, and then it'll authenticate yourself. I can find the link here. I made this like a couple months ago.
Is that for accessing the AI agent, or is that
either anyway, right? So you could do it either to access an agent, or you can do it on, hey, I'm a customer and I want to know where my order's at. And you don't want to just give that information willy-nilly without some sort of authentication. Right. So you can authenticate, and once it's authenticated, then you can share more confidential or sensitive or private information.
So let me understand. So I'm talking to the AI agent.
Yeah.
And at that point, the AI agent tells me, okay, I've sent you an SMS with a code. What is that code?
Correct.
Nice. It's actually a very common use case, in insurance companies and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's a video I made. When did I make this thing? 2 months ago. Got a whole whopping 205 views.
That's very
Wow.
cool. I'd actually like to watch that video. Could you post it in the chat?
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. Oh, did I put it on the wrong thing here? Everyone.
That could be. It
There we
can
go.
be a little confusing with Zoom.
And
Um,
to verify.
okay,
my
so
forward
that's an interesting workflow. It's
banking. Yeah, banking.
so
Anything though, even right? Like if you think about even a car dealership that has
Yeah.
their CRM online and they just want to get a status on where their service is at. If it's as long as they authenticate and you have that right protocol in terms of what information can be shared with the client, then it can read it off.
It's actually interesting. It's something that when I think of it, a lot of the times the information that's being shared between customers and the AI can be a little bit private.
It is
And
100%.
it can be personal.
And a lot of people are just using phone number for verification, like agent builders, and phone numbers can be spoofed. So I could, like, if I'm a company and I want to see if my employees applied to a job somewhere and they have an AI agent, you just give a phone
Right.
number and spoof it, then you can be like, oh yeah, your application is in interviewing stage, right? And you're just like, oh shit, like now I just told, right? It just leaked information.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Okay, privacy and authentication, authorization in general in the AI space is kind of like something that most people don't even think about, which is interesting. Eric, which actually comes back to what we discussed yesterday, remember?
I didn't want to mention that, but yes, it's exactly what we discussed yesterday about
It's
needing to
exactly
put
what
that
we
in.
discussed yesterday. So we had an internal discussion yesterday about uh building like MFA built-in applications into Cloudonix. So that, for example, if you're an AI agent, it will enable you to use that infrastructure as part of our API, as part of our existing workflows. It brings up various challenges. When you're building something for a specific solution, it's quite easy to do, but to do it, at scale is something completely different. But it is something that is mandatory.
Mhm.
I think that as we progress, the requirement for I don't want to say privacy, but more AI authenticity, or the ability to prove that an AI that is currently talking to you is authentic, and when an AI is talking to somebody, to prove that that person is authentic.
Yeah, and the OTP for like text or SMS or text or email, I felt the reason why I did that, and if you watch the video, it's not even for a real case, but it can be applied anywhere. But if you call your telephone banking, you might say, "Hey, we sent you a text to your cell phone. Tell me what that text is," and so they even authenticate that way. So I figured that was a secure enough today acceptable method.
Yeah. Oh, different interesting question. Any of you use WhatsApp?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what do you use? You use like WhatsApp business, Facebook APIs, or official APIs?
Okay, so I use WhatsApp just personally to talk to clients. I have an agent that works through WhatsApp, and I used it through Twilio integration, I think.
Okay, so that's what's called official APIs. So
Yeah.
so Facebook, they have the official APIs.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
You
there's a
buy
pain in the
through
ass.
what?
Pain in the ass to work with Facebook stuff.
Pain in
Kind of
the ass
stuff.
to pay for, pain in the ass to configure. They're a pain in the ass. And are you familiar with unofficial WhatsApp APIs? Ever heard of those? So I'm going to show you something. This is like really cool. Let me share my screen. So there are a lot of companies out there that do unofficial APIs for WhatsApp.
Problem
Okay.
with this is they can get shut down any second and API versions updated, right?
Okay, so it'll be really hard to shut them down.
Does unofficial mean not as secure?
Not supported.
No. Unofficial means that what they do is, instead of using the Meta APIs, What they do is they actually launch a virtual machine with a web WhatsApp.
VPN kind of thing.
Not a VPN. It's effectively a browser that activates web WhatsApp, and they expose that web WhatsApp through an API.
Mm.
Now,
Free for developers.
yeah, they give you some blah blah bullshit. But the nice thing about this one is that if you're doing very low scale work, you can use it. If you're doing like very simple, if you're not starting to blast, 5,000 messages like per minute, then these are interesting solutions. So this is one company. They're relatively new inside the space. Their tools are very much so you go high level integration and so on. So their tools are very developer oriented. There is this company which will be more interesting to you guys. So this is called Wassinger. Now, Wassinger, let's see if I can translate this. I don't know why it comes always in Spanish. For some odd reason, my browser decided it wants to be in Spanish. Translate English. There you go. So the interesting part is that Wassinger provides you both APIs, both the official one and the other one, the non-official one, and what they provide you is a full environment for your agents, like a full-blown kind of like CRM thingy that you can integrate. Pretty cool stuff. And there are like dozens of these companies. So this is one, and this is another one. That's many.
But I mean, like the Twilio integration for WhatsApp is pretty straightforward. It's not as much of a pain in the ass as Facebook.
Yeah, it's just the Facebook part is annoying. Here, you don't need to deal with the Facebook part. It's just go in, scan the QR code, and you're done. So that, and also there's no per message charging. So they have the 4 cents per message conversation starter, blah blah. You never know exactly how much you're going to pay in there. So these are quite interesting.
But you still have to have a WhatsApp for business account.
No, you can
No.
use a regular WhatsApp phone. You just use your phone. And then there is this thing that I found. So this is the same thing, but an open source project that you can host on your own server.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that is pretty cool.
Have you tested these?
Actually, I did. Watch this. Eric, by the way, this doesn't go into the recording. So that's going to be
Click pause.
I'm not going to click pause right now. So that's not that one.
Man, everyone runs Docker.
It is on a Docker. Hold on, let me just. I simply don't recall the API. There we go. So check this out. Yeah, it didn't load my my setup because I'm coming in from a new session. Hold on, let me just that's that. So I'll share my a different screen. Hold on. Let me just don't want to show everything. There's some stuff here I don't want to show. What was that? Here we go.
What's the rate of adoption of WhatsApp in the EU or other countries outside of the US?
In the EU is much more
It's more used everywhere else than North America.
So that's that. And that's that. There we go. Ta-da! So basically, each one of these is just a little bit of an instance that's running it. Let's see if I can grab
Each
this.
with a different WhatsApp account?
Each one with a different WhatsApp account. So let's see if I can grab one of them from here. Like this. So I can take a screenshot. Watch this. So this is actually like a screenshot of the web access. How cool is that?
And everything's accessible via API, like messages, send messaging, like
All of it. Everything is accessible through the API.
interesting.
And the API is quite extensive.
How was the Docker instance for resources? Is it pretty light?
Very. It's very light. And for small tasks, for small things, this is actually not bad.
What does it cost to run it?
Nothing.
Server.
Nothing. Okay.
If you have a server that you have like, yeah,
Yeah.
I have a dedicated server which runs Proxmox, so you can just launch any.
You can just launch it. No big deal. So this is like pretty cool stuff. And there's things that this API can do that the official API can't do.
Like?
Verify the authenticity of a specific number if it has WhatsApp or not. For
Oh, but the
example.
normal WhatsApp wouldn't need that though, because if it's coming through the platform, then
Exactly.
registered.
Yeah. So here you can do some other stuff with it. As I said, it's an interesting tool. Just
That's weird.
I need to
weird
drop
that it
off.
exists.
Yeah, that's weird that it exists. Yeah.
Hey,
Because
a lot of
like
weird things
Facebook and Meta have locked
here.
down everything and are such a pain in the ass, and then they just like basically let this happen.
So, in the open source world, things exist because somebody decided they should.
Yeah,
And
problem
normally-
and is yeah, fixing a problem.
Yeah, and normally because some company just pissed them off.
Facebook's the worst. I hate their interface even. Like just I hate working with that Meta thing.
And I think that they did a lot of good stuff. They did a lot of bad stuff. Jeez. Like any other company, like it's like saying, do I prefer, which is better, Facebook or Tesla, or which is worse?
I just saw someone that have a voice AI bot on WhatsApp. I'm still
Yeah, I've seen that one. There's an influencer called Noor that showed this a while back.
yeah.
That integration needs to work with the Twilio, with the not Twilio, with the Facebook SIP interface. Then you need to trombone it through a LiveKit SIP server. Then you need to trombone it into LiveKit. Then it's
Oh wow.
it's not simple to do.
I don't know why you'd want it on a WhatsApp number though.
It's a voice agent on a WhatsApp.
Yeah, because you'd have a normal line that they could just dial anyway. Like why use the WhatsApp to do a voice call into a voice agent?
Because it's cool.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I actually I'm not the right person to ask. I don't use voice on WhatsApp at all. Just messaging.
Wow.
Yeah, at all. Never. I've
Same.
never done voice
Yeah,
stuff.
same. I've talked to people on voice. But
How many instant messengers you got on your phone?
I don't know. It's 4.
So you got WhatsApp, Telegram.
I actually don't have Telegram. I'm one of the few. Yeah.
WhatsApp, Discord, Facebook Messenger,
SMS.
SMS.
Yeah.
So on now RCS on.
Oh no, I do have Telegram.
Huh?
You have Telegram.
And you
I
don't
never
have-
use it.
And you know that you don't have Signal?
No,
Really? Why not?
no, because I'm a old stubborn man.
Wow, Signal is awesome.
Signal. Okay.
Isn't that the one that they leaked all the military stuff, or no? Is that a different one?
That is the same one,
Okay.
but it's not that they leaked because of Signal. Signal is actually more.
No, they
than
use
WhatsApp.
the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't even have that one installed.
So Signal, you know that Signal actually is WhatsApp technically.
Oh, it's the same business?
It's the same protocol. The only difference is that when WhatsApp got bought out by Facebook, a group of engineers got really pissed and they kind of like sprung out and started Signal. And its Signal is more or less an open source environment, and everything is completely, but hey, to each one his own, and whatever they do is pretty cool. I think it's cool.
Listen, I only got on Instagram like a year or two ago.
I don't use Instagram.
I only got on it. I don't even use it. I just have it now, but I didn't even
I
sign
find
up
it
for it.
annoying. I find it annoying.
Yeah.
I find Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok.
I don't have Snapchat either.
I find these so freakishly annoying. So bad, really. It's like the last thing I want to use. But hey,
I have a question. I guess
Yep.
when I joined, I should have realized this is all retail partners here. Is anyone getting success
no.
out of retail kind of referrals? Nobody responds.
I can tell you that there were a few. I can't say they materialized due to all kinds of things. Some of them, the customer vaporized, on retail side. Some of them, the customer is either, not ready yet, or
I
they're
don't
new
even get responses.
Yeah, it's hard to track. So
responses to what?
Just when we get those gold partner notifications of people that are inquiring, and we can respond to them and say, "Hey, yeah, I'm a retail partner," and then let's set up a meeting. Nobody ever responds. I've gotten some business in the past, but recently definitely not. And there's people on there that are so fast, the message comes out and they're like right on it. Like,
You can't, one of the things, you can't be inside the Discord 24/7 and jump on any lead that comes in there. It's impossible.
yeah.
That's number one. Number two is I don't think you want to.
Well, any leads are good. I just find that there's a lot of people in there that I don't know, like I think they're too loose on their partners as well. There's partners in there asking very simple questions, and you're like, you should know.
I think they're. I think that what's happening is that, as retail changes and evolves, the leads that come to retail are very different than the ones they were passing on to their, partners and agencies.
Yeah, I just feel like recently the like because they even have started emailing partners from people that are looking for enterprise support, and those people I've never gotten one person respond because they have like a minimum. You have to be over 10 employees, I think, for enterprise support, something like that, and anything underneath that they'll forward to a partner.
There's an old saying. So I have my own personal roots, in this industry go way back to the open source movement. Okay. And back then everybody had this saying, when I was in college, that nobody was ever fired for buying IBM. Okay, you know what that means? So it means that if the year was now, let's say 2001 or 2002, and you wanted to buy a server for your company, the only options you had were either IBM,
HP.
or HP, or Dell. That's it. Dell wasn't even a contender at that point, and whatever IBM and HP had were fucking expensive. They were nuts. But if you would go out and buy some hardware on your own and build your own server from parts, then it was a little bit frowned upon. Like, what is that? Like, you're a kid? Like, go buy some serious shit, man. Like, you're gonna save a few bucks on it. And when at that time, things like Linux were considered the same thing. Back then, nobody would get fired if you bought Microsoft. Nobody would get fired if you bought Sun Microsystems at that time. But if you put a PC and install Linux on it, then and something craps out, somebody will most probably chop your head off. I think we're getting to the same stage with AI voice services. Is that
That's probably Deepgram and 11 Labs, though, right?
exactly what I'm seeing? So here's something interesting that I've been seeing over the past few weeks. So I've been increasingly involved with the AI voice community here in Israel. And what I'm seeing is that the market here, you see something that works more or less like this. You see the companies go in and they start the experimentation with VAPI. Then they switch to retail because it's more compartmentalized and kind of like reduces a lot of the headache that you get on VAPI, from all the options. And eventually they move on to 11 Labs because they realize that they use 11 Labs voices and transcription and LLMs, so they go in and say, well, might as well just use that and cut the middleman. Although the agent solution on 11 Labs isn't anywhere close to what retail has, but they use like single prompt agents and so on. So I think that what we're seeing right now is this evolution of which of the companies, which of the pioneers is going to become the IBM / HP / of the AI voice industry. Like, which of these tools is not going to get you fired for choosing it?
As you were sharing this story, Mir, I was trying to figure out where the crux in the story was, with aside from the platform, the IBM, the HP. Was it relationship? Was it the service and warranty? Was it and what I
It was the brand.
and the
It was the
brand,
advertising. It was the marketing. That's all it was.
brand sentiment, and also in addition to that, if you are, I don't know, the VP Coca-Cola and you need to do a frontline support, you can deal with 11 Labs for deployed engineers,
Right.
or an agency. Which one would you
Exactly.
that has more of a traditional something that they're familiar with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. I'm old enough to have seen 3 different generations of computing.
Yeah.
Come on, you're only 23, 24, right, Near?
I wish. How about take double that and add 5?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing. So here's something, something really interesting. It's not so much the brand recognition. It's rapidly becoming it's more of the brand ownership. And what does it signify? What does it tell somebody else about me? Think about it this way. Why do you buy Mac?
Don't.
What? You don't. But Matt does, and I bought a Mac. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why did Matt buy a Mac?
My reason
we need to go into this. Why did you buy a Mac?
Well, So okay, I can go into that.
I'm
I've
just
had
teasing, by the way.
no, it's cool. I was PC for decades, and I had kept having to blow out my C drive, and I got it to the point where I had to keep my C drive relatively light because I was rebuilding it so much, and I would only have it big enough because the PC's operating system would always have some type of issues. So I bought a Mac. That Mac sat in the corner for 90 days, 120 days in the box. And that's unheard of for me. Anyone knows me, anything electronic, I'm on it. Anything lights, whistles, whatever. It sat in the corner for at least 3 to 6 months. I don't know what amount of time because I kept dealing with the struggles and the problems that I had on my PC. Then finally, I've moved, like I switched. I have all friends say, "Oh, you got an iPhone? Why not have a Mac? Why not have all this?" Right. So I finally started using a Mac, and my experience with Mac, aside from Steve Jobs being a genius at marketing, and I'm not that kind of guy that blows people up like that. Like, but it is pretty clever how the whole brand about Macs. I don't care about that, but I do know that I haven't had to rebuild my C drive in a long, long time. I don't have the same problems that I had on the PC with this Mac with the Mac.
Sorry, give me a sec. Someone's walking into my.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. So that is the thing is that why do people buy Mac? People buy Mac because they want one of two things. You
It's
want
sleek and
you
yeah,
want the feeling of the Mac, that slick
yeah.
uh pseudo advanced pseudo highly advanced high tech. This is the best thing you can find.
I won't lie. If you go into the Starbucks or into a meeting room, and two people walk into that room dressed very similar, like dress casual, and they both sit down at the table. One opens a new MacBook. The other one opens a new Alienware laptop. Then,
The guy with the Mac would look much more professional.
yeah,
It's that thing. It's that.
yeah,
Now, on the other side, now let's take the other side of the spectrum on that one. Okay. Okay. Now, for me, I use Mac simply because I'm more into the best hardware I can find. I'm a power user. My Mac
same.
has 128 gigs of RAM, and it's a powerhouse. Okay, I use a lot of things. I need to be able to use multiple operating systems at the same time and run virtual machines. So it's the best thing I can find.
Absolutely. And
I've been
had I opened that Mac and not had a good experience, I would have
Yeah. Number
stayed with
two, I've been a Linux user for ages. Okay, and I just I said to myself, I don't want to worry about it. I just want to work. But the thing. Now, nobody will fire you for buying a Mac. Nobody will fire you for buying a Dell.
I will. No, just.
What?
Is that I will?
And
Just joking.
but this is the race that currently all these companies are working on, is which one of them will become the enterprise recognized brand for AI voice. Which one of
Well,
them
I know
will,
that retail's working with NHL and NBA, so they're going to get some exposure there.
so they're going to get that, and Vapi is going to get it from somewhere else, and 11 is going to get it from somewhere else, and Deepgram is going to get it from somewhere else. But it doesn't mean that one of them will become, the household name for everything.
No.
The Google of AI voice. I think we've passed that time.
Let's be honest though as well, like all these companies are new. There could be a new company that comes out that near creates tomorrow that kills the functionality and ease of everything, and then he's the new name. Right? Like it's yeah, I don't think there's going to be
I'm
I
going
don't
to
think
show.
there's a race to the top right now.
Look, you want to show? I'm going to show you something. So one of the topics that I've recently seen on retail, also I've seen it actually also on Vapi, is that people are starting to look at how do I automatically orchestrate my agents? Namely, how do I manage my, so today, if you're on VAPI, it's very hard to manage your agent versions. If you're on a single prompt agent or you're in a workflow, whatever change you do, there's no real version control. Retail solves that problem quite nicely. They have version control. And I think that's an awesome feature. But for me, as if I'm looking at it from an enterprise perspective, it's the wrong way of managing it because I am a developer and I'm an enterprise and I have IT people and I have DevOps people and I have developers, and I would really like to manage my agents the same way I manage all of my code on Git and use that as a as a deployment environment.
Too complicated for the average retail user, though. Like retail's pretty user friendly, so it's not the right environment.
That's his point, because
That's my point.
that's why 11 Labs, if you take, you
All of
speak
them are
enterprise, you speak enterprise to an enterprise, and it could be the same thing for you as an agency, Tony.
right.
If the enterprise expects that it's going to take 3 months, and you say, "Oh, it just takes 2 weeks," and they're not from,
You're going to lose the sale.
yeah, they have expectations on the whole motion
The
of
life
delivery.
cycle of
Yeah.
development and testing they
Yeah.
have in their brains. They're conditioned to think in a specific manner.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're currently working on, let me show you.
Interesting.
These are all interesting questions because this is what's going to drive this industry. So one of the things that we created recently, it's still under some heavy development and testing, is something we call Converse. So Converse is basically a way for you to create a single prompt agent internally inside Cloudonix. So you can come in and you can literally say, okay, here's my system prompt. You can have multiple system prompts. You can create tools. You can create you can put in some user prompts and so on. It's still experimental. But one of the things we've seen customers already do is actually build their own deployment and orchestrators that use this. So they built their own UI and they built their own management that actually does this, and they manage their agents on Git. So they actually created something that actually goes about and uploads, does a Git push in the background into whatever, which was pretty cool. It was pretty cool when I saw it. Very much like you, I said, why? Like, but I understand where they're coming from because from an enterprise perspective, you want to be able to manage your code like anything else. Also, if you manage your system prompts and all this inside the Git with some kind of automatic deployment, later on you can deploy it to retail, to VAPI, to whoever gives you an API to deploy it. So think about it. You can create if you're familiar with
Oh wow, you'd have version control, remediation, rollback.
think about it. Are you familiar with Terraform? You know what Terraform is?
Terraform, yeah.
So Terraform is an orchestration tool for infrastructure as code.
Yep.
It's from HashiCorp, which is effectively the same company behind Docker and so on.
IBM bottom.
What?
IBM bottom. Yeah, IBM.
Yeah, it's an IBM company today. I don't think they're behind Docker, but I don't recall. But Terraform is kind of like this scripting language for building cloud stacks. So you can create one deployment script and then deploy it on AWS, on Google, and Azure at the same time. Will be the exact same stack. Kind of like a middleware. But I'm thinking the way that I see it, eventually that will have to happen.
So it seems like if you're introducing this, then the person that wants this will want as a part of the stack Cloudonix, Terraform, Pipecat, something like that.
You can do that, yeah, definitely.
But
But
this is
again,
also limited to single prompt.
what?
This is also limited to single prompt agents.
No, not really.
Because you'd have to build a JSON for conversational flow.
You mean on our side?
Yeah.
You can create multiple agents and just move between them all the time.
But single prompt agents, though, look the way that
Each
this
one
is
of
set
them
up,
is a
right?
single prompt, yes. Again, we're not aiming, we're not competing with the Vappies and the retails. It's a different beast. But I'm looking at it, I'm saying eventually the AI orchestrators will be required to go in and provide orchestration tools to their platforms via APIs. Because eventually they will no longer be the service, they will be the platform. There's a big difference between the two.
Mm. I know that there's a thread in one of the Slacks before the whole agent attacks going on where people are getting charged a lot of money because they have other agents calling agents and just racking up bills.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. You got agents calling agents, not realizing they're agents, and they just keep on talking.
Or they even have non-agents, just like recorded scripts that just keep asking questions.
That's just fraud.
I know, but that's happening, and like they're just wondering if anything. I haven't been paying attention in the community if anything's been brought up on that, if there's been any advancements or ideas.
I've seen a lot of talk about it, and the overall sentiment of people, and I've been trying to explain this to people, saying, guys, no, you cannot. People actually go back to retail and VAPI and the AI providers to fix it, to figure out how to, how to mitigate the entire issue.
Be right back.
And I'm explaining to people, guys, like it's not their job to do it. It's not their job. If you don't sanitize your data, if you don't go in and make sure your data is clean and you don't dial somewhere stupid or you allow people to dial from stupid.
No, I'm talking about attacks. Yeah. People are calling their agents.
Yeah, then eventually you're going to be, So one of the tools that I created inside Cloudonix, so we have a lot of internal, mechanisms. One of the tools that I used, that I created specifically for the outbound connections, when we dial outbound, is a tool that I call Sentry. Sentry is designed to identify usage patterns of our customers and be able to alert when a usage pattern goes, off the deep end. It has not a lot of know-how because it sees a lot of cases. So I can go about and create all kinds of what I call velocity vectors to say, okay, this needs to behave like this needs to behave like that. I think, but again, this is me. I think it's the responsibility of the agencies to understand the pitfalls of their agents. If it's an inbound agent, how to protect it. What is the common scenario? What is the most expected scenario? How do I go about and potentially figure out that somebody's trying to derail my agent? If it's an outbound agent, How do I make sure that somebody doesn't, feed my data with all kinds of stuff that I don't want to dial? And I think this is one of the most important things. Because if you don't do it, if the agencies don't think about this stuff, eventually the customers will simply lose faith at the tech because they will blame the AI. They will not blame the integration.
Yeah, but there's things that are outside the integration scope, right? Like if it's an inbound agent and some asshole is doing an attack, that just keeps calling, like, and keeps your concurrency up, right? So it's got like always max concurrency, always like taking 50-minute calls or whatever. Like that's a little bit
Here's
outside
what
the
I
scope.
would do. Here's what I would do. Okay. So, for example, I would do something of the following. So, Cloudonix has this thing called Start Stream. Okay, basically, I can take the audio stream of a call at the beginning of the call and then stream it outwards and then connect the call to wherever I want. So, I can take this on every inbound call. So, I can go start stream and then push it, let's say, into Assembly AI or DeepGram or 11 Labs, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Okay. And say, I'm going to monitor only the first 60 seconds of the inbound call. I'm going to monitor whatever the other side is talking, not the AI, the inbound call side. I'm going to monitor it and see what that person is saying.
Is that
And
text or speech to text? Is that how it's passing?
no. It's streams over the audio,
The actual audio.
the actual audio stream. And let's say I push it into Assembly AI, and I take the first 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, I actually send the stream what's called a stop command. I can do it through the API. And once I have that, I would say, okay, I got it. Great. Now I can act upon it. Like I can decide that, oh, the other side is not a real person. It's a bot, or it's some kind of IVR recording in a loop. I'm just going to kill that session. You just gave me an idea for a kick-ass feature. Oh man. Oh man, that is fucking awesome. We can actually do something like that in like a day.
Transcripting?
Not transcription, more like saying starting an asynchronous identification or classification, saying, is this a real person or is this an IVR, an AI talking to me?
Yeah, and the use case you might want to look at as well is that I've seen is that they don't actually use an IVR or an AI. They use a pre-recorded converse, like a human talking. So it doesn't actually answer the question, but it, you know how whenever you ask AI a question in the middle, it interrupts it, it'll like stop and like answer that question. So the AI will be saying something. It's like, oh, actually, I heard about this, and then so the AI will get interrupted and then start answering different things. So you'd have to build that in.
Well, that is something that needs to be built into the AI, not into that tool,
Well,
because there will be a
my,
limitation. Remember, if that tool needs to identify it, well, what is the objective? The objective is to identify it as fast as possible.
yeah.
So you want the external tool will be able to identify within, let's say, 60 seconds, any malicious attempt which is going to be an IVR or a repetitive recording.
Yeah. Part of the problem is as well. I just lost my thought. I can't. All right, my thought. Train of thought. Keep going. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I lost it.
I need to talk to the guys to figure out if we can create something in there. It's not so much a voicemail detection, but it's more of an automated answering detection.
Hmm.
It's not a voicemail or an answering machine. It's kind of like a repetitive case.
Because
Like
anything that I've employed to solve the problem, the end result is an annoyance to the caller, so the client doesn't like it. Like you can add like a little thing about, press this code to continue, but nobody likes that. Nobody wants that. All right.
no, but what you can do is this is normally all AIs that I've seen will ask the person what's their name. That will be like how they start, right?
Many times, yep. Most of the time.
Then build a tool that will feed that name into something like ChatGPT and ask it, does this name make sense to you? Is this a real name? Because most of these recordings, they're not designed to properly answer things. They're just recordings of somebody talking. They'll be completely out of sync. That's
Yeah,
option
the
number two.
challenge with that though, yeah, you could do that in a retail implementation. You could just do a stop interruptions, I guess, just to get that answer.
Yeah.
But even on that, like when retail answer is expecting a response, if you ask it a question, even if it's expecting a specific response, the agent will still be like, "Oh, sorry about that," or you know what I mean? Like it'll respond to like, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, no, but here's what I really want," and then it'll still continue down that loop of conversation. So it wouldn't get to the next node to say extract variable name. It'd be stuck in that node. It wouldn't even get to the next node.
Well, I think that in that case, I think that retail needs to put in a node execution limit
Yeah,
on their nodes. Saying
that would be a really good idea if they did that.
Yeah, how many times am I allowing this node to be
Yeah.
executed?
Or even a time limit, and if it doesn't, you can have a standard opt out. Like if you're in the same node for 2 minutes, and you can say, apologies, we're not hearing you right now.
Yeah.
Right, and then either transfer to a live agent or else hang up.
That is the best solution. It's the
But they don't have that built in though.
I don't think
But
they
per node limitations would be cool.
I'm trying to think if it's even possible.
Hey, Near, I got to drop. I'll reach out to you later this week. Tony,
Awesome.
it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
So I don't think you can do per node limitation.
No, they'd have to build it in. Like they added in per node knowledge base. They added per node LLM. Like they could if they wanted to. It's just not in there right now.
Yeah. Actually, they know they have it. They can do it in one day.
Yeah, I'm sure they could do it. They just haven't.
No. They could do it in one day because they have the mechanism. It's turns. Is how many turns are allowed per node.
Yeah, they don't have that in there.
What?
So yeah, that would be great. They just don't have that in there right now.
They don't. I don't think anybody has that. Also,
But I like how retail has that per node customization, but adding to that would be fantastic.
Also, I'm not sure. I know this is going to sound bad, right? Let me just stop the recording. It's no longer interesting.